Child sexual abuse is so prevalent. If we could talk about these things, it would make it so much easier for children to say, I need help.
We have a problem, and it's not just here, it's everywhere. And it makes people uncomfortable, but it's extremely important. We as adults have to do something because we owe it to them.
Most people who haven't ever had that happen in their lives are reluctant because it doesn't necessarily fit their narrative of what the world is. Some people will say, well, my kid doesn't need that. And I say, well, you don't know your kid needs that until it's too late.
Kids don't report child sexual abuse on average 6 months or more after the abuse, if they ever talk about it. The average age of disclosure of child sexual abuse is 52 years old.
We truly have levels of childhood trauma in our state and in our country where we have lots of adults who are walking around who are just shadows of who they could have been if they had got what they needed as little kids.
You have to have your community support and the willingness to talk about what's going on in order to make a difference.
My first foster daughter came to us as a 4-year-old and she'd been horribly abused. It turns out it was her 2 uncles that had decided to use her sexually.
We used to say stranger danger. It's no longer stranger danger because most of the sexual abuse happens with people that they know. They're either relatives, neighbors, but also with kid-on-kid sexual abuse.
Kids these days are on the internet and confronted by bullying and cyberbullying.
They're getting adapted to things that we would never have been adapted to 20, 30 years ago. And they don't look at it as being wrong or defiant or deviant. They look at it as a social norm now.
We have a lot of our kids that are going through trauma that wasn't as commonplace back when I was a child. One of my little girls that I hotlined came back and said, Mrs. Riddle, I know you tried to help me, but I got in big trouble for telling you at home, so I can't ever tell again. The places that she ended up as an adult were very sad because of the trauma she endured.
If kids can experience abuse at home and then get up and go to school the next day and they have to sit through a class when they were sexually abused, surely adults, we can handle having conversations about it. And our children deserve that.
We have to be willing to talk about it to put an end to it. The secrecy and stigma have to end. There's a lot of kids that are in situations where they don't know what is happening to them is wrong and they're being victimized. We want to be here to provide the response, but we want to stop that abuse from happening in the first place.
We have had kids who, after our lessons, have reported that they were being abused or that they recognize signs in their friend who's being abused. Is helping them understand that, hey, it's not okay for dad to be getting in bed with me or for the 32-year-old guy to be talking to me on social media.
There was next to no money going into interventions to prevent child sexual abuse. And so I do believe that we can do it if we put sustained investment in this area. And to be frank, we should have done this a long time ago. The idea of being on the cutting edge of something that could have such a tremendous impact on children is very exciting.